So here we are. A thief, two thugs, an assassin, and a maniac. But we're not gonna stand by as evil wipes out the galaxy.
Steve is here again for another movie review, and today we're talking about the highly anticipated Marvel flick, Guardians of the Galaxy, starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, and Bradley Cooper as the voice of Rocket, and Vin Diesel as the voice of Groot. Guardians of the Galaxy has kind of been billed as Marvel's strangest and most out there movie because it's based on fairly unknown material, not unknown in the comic book fan world, but in the terms of major superheroes, not a lot of people know about the Guardians of the Galaxy until now. And a lot of these characters are kind of, they're not like typical heroic people like Captain America or Thor or anything like that. They're outlaws, they're bandits, and this movie introduces those characters, starting with Peter Quill / Star-Lord, played by Chris Pratt, who gets taken from Earth at a young age after the death of his mother. And through this, he becomes this outlaw known as Star-Lord, or mainly known as Star-Lord to himself. And along the way, he meets this band of misfits, including Zoe Saldana as Gamora, and Dave Bautista as Drax, and Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon, and Vin Diesel as Groot. These 5 people, and they kind of team up this uneasy alliance to take back this magical orb that has this mysterious importance. And yes, this movie follows the Marvel formula where they have this MacGuffin and they have to explain what the MacGuffin is. In the past couple films it's the Tesseract, now it's this orb. And while the story may not be the most interesting, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is one of Marvel's most fun, if not the most fun, Marvel movie to date. One of Marvel's strongest suits, and maybe their strongest, is characters, and developing characters and making interesting characters, and also having very good character-related humor. That's one of the things they did really well in the Avengers, by bringing all those characters together. And here, one of the reasons why this movie works so well is every character is specifically drawn out, and they all have unique personalities, and they all bounce off each other really well. They have great chemistry. Chris Pratt as the sardonic kind of Han Solo type is really fun to watch, and he's kind of our connection to Earth because he's the only real human in the movie, and he's also very likable. Drax, played by Dave Bautista, is surprisingly funny. He's got a few of the funny lines in the movie. He's surprisingly a comedic character, but is also believable in the action scenes. Zoe Saldana as Gamora is really good. She's got an interesting backstory, and you believe her as an ass kicker. But the two scene stealers, and anyone that watches this movie will probably tell you this, Groot and Rocket Raccoon, the two CGI characters, by far steal this movie. Rocket, he's funny, he's quick. You knew he was going to steal the movie when you first saw him in the trailers. He's like this raccoon that gets drunk and talks shit, but has a tragic backstory. And all of these characters have this somewhat tragic backstory that kind of brings them together. And that's one of the reasons why I bought the camaraderie between them so well. Groot, who is this anamorphic tree that only says 3 words through the whole movie, I am Groot, shows a lot of emotion, and he has a lot of fun moments with his powers and stuff. One scene specifically in particular, when you see the movie you'll know what I'm talking about, and he conveys a lot of life just through his motions and those 3 words, and him and Rocket have this really strong emotional core. What was really refreshing about this movie is that it really does not take itself seriously. It knows what it is. With all of this barrage of really self-serious superhero flicks coming out recently, it was nice to just see something that just fun summer entertainment and knows that's what it is. The movie also has a great job of balancing serious moments and heart in the movie, and even then they crack a joke, a couple seconds later after that scene. But I thought all the emotional stuff worked really well, whether it be the stuff between Rocket and Groot, and characters have to make sacrifices in this movie, and Peter Quill's backstory. I thought all the emotional beats were well earned and deserved, and on top of that, with mixing it with humor, I thought James Gunn handled that really well. I thought the action was well done. I thought the whole movie was paced out. There's definitely some flaws in the movie. One, it does, for me at least, take about a good 15 minutes for the movie to kind of kick into gear until you kind of meet the Guardians. it's still fine for the first couple of minutes, but you're kind of waiting for, like, let's just wait for the team to meet up here. Also, like I said, the plot in here is not very interesting. It's really following the Marvel formula, and the villains here, you got Ronan the Accuser, played by Lee Pace, and this girl Nebula, and then you also are introduced to Thanos in this movie, and I thought that they were serviceable, and they were intimidating, but they really don't have interesting backstories. They're just kind of, their backstories are kind of thrown out in a line or two in the beginning of the movie, and they are just here to serve the story. And while they're intimidating, they're not super interesting. So that was kind of a disappointment. But for the most part, I think this is a really fun summer movie, and I think Marvel pulled off this potentially really tough material well. And while I can't say it's my favorite Marvel movie, that would actually be this year's Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I think it's definitely one of the most fun times you'll have in the theater this summer. I think you'll just, if you sit back and enjoy the ride, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy 4 stars out of 5. That's my review of Guardians of the Galaxy. Let me know what you guys thought of the film. Did you love it? Were you disappointed by it? Who is your favorite character? It's probably Rocket, but let me know down below. And if you like this review, you can subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys later.
I'm Groot.
Ain't no thing like me except me.
They call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy. This might not be the best idea.